Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amirul Rafiq bin Ramli.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haykal bin Yusni.
Esport is essentially short for electronic sport, where players and professionals are competing to gain reward and champion title. Esport can be defined as a form of competitive video games playing against other players in a person or online, playing for trophy or points, and playing for speed. Esport and traditional sport are different since both have their own criteria. As for esport, it is played through online platform and it is involved a small group of muscle. While for traditional such as rugby or football, they are more to athlete physicality and using a larger group of muscle. Development of esport is rapidly growing in 2013, which is over 70 million of people are watching esport through internet or television. The growth of esport gives a huge impact towards esport field, whereby people are participated as a player as well as a spectator that should support toward esport itself. In Malaysia, esport has been recognised by National Sport Council, which allow players to represent Malaysia in a major tournament at international level. Ministry of Youth and Sport also held events and tournaments for local players such as Esport Championship in 2020. The first problem statement is study shows that 90% of teenagers have played video games and it keeps increasing with 55% of console players and 66% of online players that are over than 18 years old. It gives back impact to youngsters who are still studying because they spend more time in playing games compared to study. They also see those professional players that are success by playing games only. Imbalance of study and playing games could lead to the bad implication to young age. Marian Terry stated that student play game tends to give less attention and fall asleep that can affect their academic performance. For the second problem statement, esport also change youth behaviour that they might be followed through the games that they play. Studies found that some types of game taught students to be more aggressive and violent that will affect towards their discipline at school or university. It also affect their mental health that lead to anxiety and depression due to pressure from family that push them to focus on academic. As for research question, we have 4 main questions. First question is how spending more time on playing esport can affect student result. Second question, does addiction in playing e-sport can decrease academic result? Do different types of gameplay in e-sport have different impact on students' result? And last question is, what is the level of student awareness on their studies and whether it affect their result? Our research have 4 main objectives. For the first objective is to determine the relationship between time spent and student academic result. Second, to identify whether different types of gameplay have different impact on academic result. Third, to investigate the relationship between addiction to play esport and academic result. And last objective is to determine the relationship between students' awareness and the academic result. Figure above show the conceptual framework about does esport affect student achievement in academic has a relationship and connection with 4 independent variables. 4 independent variables will be the factors that contribute to the esport affect students' achievement in academic. The 4 independent variables are time spent on esport, awareness of student, types of gameplay, and addiction to esport. Student academic result is the dependent variable which has been shown in the conceptual framework. We have developed our hypothesis based on our independent variable. For the first independent variable is time spent on playing esport. Now, there is a significant relationship between time spent on playing esport and student academic result. Alternate hypothesis, there is no relationship between time spent on playing esport and academic result. For the second independent variable, H now, there is significant relationship between student awareness on studies and student academic result. Alternate hypothesis, there is no relationship between student awareness on studies and student academic result. For the third independent variable, which is type of gameplay, for H now, there is a significant relationship between types of gameplay and student academic result. For alternate hypothesis, there is no relationship between types of gameplay and student academic result. Lastly, addiction for e-sport. For H now, there is a significant relationship between addiction to play e-sport with and student academic result. For alternate hypothesis, there is no relationship between addiction to play e-sport and student academic result. Research methodology. Firstly, research design. We are using quantitative method because it includes numerical measurement and variables analyzation. It because data are rely on primary data, which is amount of student AM228. Our unit of analysis is final year degree students in Faculty of Administrative Science and Policy Study of UiTM Campus Ramban. Referring to table of Krejci and D.W. Morgan, our sample size are 263 respondents from semester 5 and 6 students of UiTM Campus Ramban. We select a stratified sampling technique because we know the population of final year students. Semester 5 and 6 will be divided into two that called strata, and from that random sample will be selected. We are using Likert scale for data measurement. We conduct a survey of online questionnaire towards 263 respondents. For data analysis, descriptive analysis will be used because it includes table, bar, chart, and pie chart to summarize the data. Pearson correlation will be used for our four main objectives.
Okay, so the demographic profile is divided into four. The first one is gender, between male and female. The major respondents came from the male, which is 51.7%. And for the age, which is 22 years old and below, and 23 years old and above. And the majority of the respondents are 22 years old and below. So for the semester is the final year students, which is semester 5 and semester 6. And majority of the respondents came from the semester 5, which is 53.2%. And the last one is CGPA. Majority of the students scored 2.01 until 3.00 for their CGPA, which is 44.5%. Okay, so next is the hypothesis testing. There are four lists of hypotheses. The first one is to determine the relationship between time spent on esports and the student's result. And from this hypothesis, H null is accepted and H alternate is rejected, since R is 0.0.91 and P is more than 0.05. Going to the hypothesis 2, which is to identify whether types of gameplay have a relationship with the academic results, and the decision of this is hypothesis alternate is accepted and hypothesis null was rejected, since the R is equal to 0.234, meanwhile P is equal to 0.000. Hypothesis 3, which is to investigate the relationship between addiction to play sports and the academic results, and the decision is hypothesis alternate is accepted and hypothesis null is rejected. This is because R is equal 0.280 and P is equal 0.000. And last hypothesis is to determine whether the relationship between students' awareness and the academic results. And the decision is hypothesis null is rejected and hypothesis alternate is accepted. The result is R equals 0.082 and P is equal 0.000. So for the recommendation, the first recommendation is self-control. The students specifically need to have self-control over their self. This is because self-control is very important, so that the students can perform the task without any distraction or any problems. Moreover, students with self-controls are able to instill discipline values in their life. And the second recommendation is time management. Time management is very crucial for students in order for them to complete their tasks and assignments. Time management is very important since activity will not become delayed or postponed. For example, the students can create or prepare a timetable to complete their tasks accordingly. Moving on to the limitation of the study. The first limitation of the study is accessibility to the respondents. We anticipated that there is a difficulty in reaching the respondents physically in the campus since there are government regulations that prohibit us to do so, and therefore it can cause the respondents to submit a fake answer or the answer that are biased. So the second limitation is limited sample size. The sample size of our study cannot represent the whole students of UiTM Seremban 3 since it is very small. So future suggestion from the study. The first one is increase the sample size, since the sample size of our study is quite small and the validity and accuracy might be questioned. The second suggestion is use more effective method to approach the respondents, such as using the direct interview or face-to-face interview. To summarize, there are some variables in the study that could affect the performance of the final year students of AM228 in UiTM Seremban 3. However, this study has made an important contributions to an important social habit, specifically for the concerned parties or agency to take responsive action.